Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club. If you're at all interested in anything we talk about in this episode, go ahead and check out the description down below. Or if you even just want to know more about us, click on the links below. Now on to the episode.
Yes,
Hey.
Coffee Experts Club. What's going on, Ben Clatterbuck?
Good day to you, sir. You know, just having meetings, talking with people about opening coffee shops. It's pretty fun.
Pretty exciting stuff, Ben. I love it. Ben, I was thinking about it today. You and I have been working with each other about like 8 going on 9 years now. That's pretty crazy.
That is pretty wild. It's gonna be a decade soon. That's crazy.
I think it might actually be longer than that, Ben, because I think West was actually my second client after Keith Yackey before Pete Vargas. And I started Collab team in 2014. No, this is it. And so Wes and I started having conversations in 2015. It has been a decade, dude.
Been 10
you and
years.
I, a decade together. Love it, bro.
That's pretty wild, man. Where has the time gone? You know what's crazy is you still have the same amount of hair.
Shoot, dude. Hey, man, my kids, dude. I'm telling you what, I was a dark-haired man when Ben Clatterbuck met me, but it is not the same now.
I will say I've got a lot more gray coming in. Like I'm starting to get it in patches right now.
I love it, dude. I love Ben as a fun dad, though, bro. You're such a good dad. Married man, dude, driving a Tesla, dude. Who is this guy, dude? Old Benji wouldn't even recognize this dude. They'd be like, "What a freaking sellout!" I love it, dude. You should be so proud.
Old me would have made fun of me and called me lame.
I love it, dude. You're not lame. I like this version better.
Yeah, I'm a fan as well. I can't lie. I'm a fan of the kids.
I love it, dude. Hey, I thought we could talk today. Drew Moody is out on OOO. Our boy is actually getting some R&R with his grandparents up in the mountains. I thought it was so cool. You know, he came home from Belize and got some time with family. And I said, dude, enjoy the time. He was trying to stress and squeeze this in. And I'm like, dude, enjoy your grandparents. I'm such a big advocate for, hey, we've got a limited number of times, right? I think for all of us, I think it's good not to get too like philosophical on all of us, but especially as the people we love age, like you have a limited number of those left. You know, like drink those in. Don't miss out on those. Like that's so important. So I hope Drew enjoys his time with his fam today. Ben, you and I are going to talk about something that I think is very near and dear to both of our hearts because you and I lived through the conundrum. You and I have lived through absolute chaos, unboxed, and had to deal with it in real time. And so I think we are both pretty passionate about the topic we're going to talk about today, but we're talking about when and how to do a launch, like whatever the launch is, right? We're talking about grand opening, and we're talking about releasing a new product. We're talking about coming up with a special. We're talking about how you do a launch. You know, I think that a lot of times visionaries, leaders of businesses, they are knee-jerk and they're just like, let's get it out there. And they push it out and they don't think through all the pain that could come out of the backside. Or when you try and surface the prospect of pain to a visionary, they feel like that you're like a quench, like that you're just like giving them no's. I know that was kind of your tag at Roasters Days was you were the no, but I think that what you're hoping to do is like give them just a touch of the brakes, right? You know, you're coming around a corner on the freeway and you're accelerating into the corner, and there are those times where there's a merge in front of you or there's something on the road and it's like tap the brakes, the brakes, like it's not all about speed, you know? And so I thought we could talk about today how to do a launch and how not to do a launch. And I thought it could be near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, the first and most obvious one that always comes to mind was our Black Friday gift cards. They were such a hit because they were stupid cheap. Like I think when we first started doing it, it was you get a $50 gift card for $30. It might have even been $25. It might have been $25.
I think it was 25. Yes.
And I think one of the first 2 times we did that, we just were like, you know, we open the shops, you know, the opener gets there at 4:30, open the shops at 5 a.m. And like this poor kid, the first couple times we do it, opens the shop at 5 a.m. to 15 cars waiting for him to open and just gets absolutely obliterated on a Black Friday. And it was just like, we did it the first time. And we've talked about in previous episodes, nobody took notes, nobody wrote anything down, so we did it again another time, you know, and both times the owner's going, what the hell's going on?
Right, so pissed that we're not able to keep up, right? Like so pissed that we're not able to keep up with the chaos that he caused.
So it was like finally we were like, okay, there has to be, we have to staff like our busiest hour in the morning at 5 a.m. And then as it dies down, you send those folks home because, of course, Black Friday dies down around, 9 a.m.
Sure.
But I mean, that was such a big one, and then we did the same. We learned our lessons when it came to like new cup launches where we'd either
So wait a minute.
under order.
Before you get that, can we just like revel a little bit in what you had to do to prepare for Black? That to me is one of the best parts of the story because that's even like second click, right? That was us trying to be prepared. Like, but even in the preparation,
Yep.
like, please talk to me about what you had to do to prepare for that.
Yeah, I mean, we back in the days we had a hodgepodge POS system, so it was like
Right.
it wasn't like loading these gift cards easily on the fly. Like the gift card system was so archaic. It used a camera. They had to scan a QR code on the back of an individual card, type key in the amount, and so if you had somebody who wanted 5 gift cards, that transaction took you like 4 or 5 minutes, and so.
Right.
We were like, we can't do this. So let's just have Ben the night before load up 600 individual gift cards with $50 each because we knew we'd sell that much. So it wasn't even the night before. It would be like the entire week. Every spare minute I'd have like a box of 100 gift cards slowly, one by one. I mean, if each gift card took me like a minute or two to load, talking about like hours and hours I would spend just loading.
Sweatshop. Ben Clatterbuck just sweatshop working, and I would joke about it every year when it came up. Ben just full on getting carpal tunnel, full swiping gift cards and having to load them with $50 increments. Dude, it made me I thought it was so funny. Now I will say that only happened, I think, like 2 years, right, Ben? Like before you're like, I freaking am not doing this anymore, and we're able to get into a better system.
Yeah, we eventually moved to. I mean, and this was like we're talking about like early 2010s. So like the technology like was slowly getting better. We finally moved to a new gift card thing. I could actually order them preloaded in bulk. That was amazing. But I remember conversations of like, is this worth it? And of course, the owner's like, hell yeah, it's worth it. We're pulling in like 30K.
Oh yeah, I get up at 9 a.m. and I'm sipping my coffee. Hell yeah, it's worth it.
But those launches they're good if you think them through before you go through with them. Obviously, on the outside, it was incredibly profitable for us, so it was absolutely worth it. But if you can have the same outcome without so much pain and customers being pissed off because they're waiting in the drive-thru for 45 minutes, it's much better all around to go the pre-plan route.
Well, I think that, and I mean, honestly, let's talk about that for a minute. And then I don't want to lose momentum on your other thought of what you were going to go with cup launch. But I will say this, like, that's a classic example of Wes had a great idea, right? Cost him very little, right? To have this great idea where he's going to make a shit ton of money on the backside, right? Now, we did have conversations after that, though, of how much are we hemorrhaging to get this stimulus, right? Because really it was a stimulus pump is all it was, right? We got a ton of cash, but ended up giving away a lot of product, and we're not very profitable on the product we give away. Now, obviously there's a gaming gift cards, right? Not everybody's going to redeem them. Not everybody's going to use them. So there is some income that you make that is never fully realized in having to give product out. But Wes has got this great idea, brings in a bunch of income, which is nice to have a stimulus coming into holiday, right? Because then, you're putting into hard goods, you're putting into a bunch of different things, but it doesn't cost him much to have a great idea. Right. So then he drives it down, and Wes would really drive things down hard. Like, we got to get this done. It's got to happen right now. And he would get real aggressive with like, has to happen tomorrow. Right. So it's like drive down on a hard idea, not thinking through, yes, it will be profitable, but you're going to piss off your baristas because they didn't get communication. They weren't able to prepare. Piss off your managers because they probably didn't schedule right, because how could they? That you just had this idea. Black Friday is not probably the best idea because that was date specific, but we're talking about in general. Wes would have ideas like this, drive down hard on them. It would piss off the baristas. It would piss off the managers because they hadn't staffed correctly. So the baristas were pissed at the managers, right? And then those are the people talking to people out the window, right? Because now they're frustrated. Your baristas and managers are talking to people out the window from a frustrated place. So even if they're trying to hold a good face, which we all know our people don't always do, right? But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They're trying to hold a good face with the customers. They've got inner seething happening, right? And so it's like how much they're going to be able to hold face for very long when they encounter normal tripping hazards within the barista world, right? Of like they spilled something, they dumped something, something's bad. There's a conflict of how many people are needing them at the same time. They're being pulled on. So then opportunity for that seething to come out it's right under the surface, man. It's not going to take much to get them to blow a gasket. You know what I mean? And then customer has a bad experience, like you were saying, 45 minutes waiting just to get through the line to have a bad experience with the barista. So even though it can be incredibly profitable, it could actually hurt you more in the long run
Yep.
because you damage relationship with barista, you damage relationship with managers because you're saying, I don't really care how this affects you. You're communicating bad with customers because they have a bad customer experience because your barista and manager aren't happy. I think so. It's really important to think through. Yes, this could be a great infusion of cash. This could be a great thing for monetarily what we see on the back, but it could really negatively affect us on the downhill.
Yep. Yep. And that was, I mean, that's why I I think I gave myself the nickname of the no man. You need, as an owner, you need either somebody who you're partnered with, like you and Drew, or you need an operator who is the grounded one who says, okay, I'm the one who has to take your beautiful 3 a.m. idea you just had and
Right.
take it to and make it real in the company. And you need somebody to bring your feet back down to earth and say, hey, here's our practical limitations. Because he'd get those all the time, those 3 a.m. ideas. I want to do this
Right.
tomorrow. I'm like, okay, but nobody's scheduled for tomorrow. We can't we
Right.
can't do a $2 drinks at 11 a.m. There's two baristas working. I can't
Right.
call somebody in right now. It's midnight. Like, this
Right.
physically can't work. Maybe we do it the
Yep.
next day. And you need that person who says, great idea, awesome, love it, but not right now because it's physically impossible. But we can plan this out so that we can implement this idea. And without that, if you're just an owner running a coffee shop and you've got, idea, it
Yep.
works great for one or two locations because you're in those one or two locations. When you
Right.
start growing, you start getting out of those one or two locations and you're at 4, 5, 6 locations. You as an owner is still going to think operationally. It's just like when I worked that one location.
Right.
It's just like that. It's not just like that. You've got
Right.
6 locations of different schedules. You need somebody who's either your partner who's in there like Drew on the boots on the ground in the day to day, talking
Yep.
to the baristas, working with the baristas, who knows what the schedules look like, or you need an operator who's going to say, okay, this is a great idea, but these 3 shops are running a 2-man team. These 2 shops are could handle it. We can't do the whole company. We could do these 2 shops, or maybe we can plan for all of the shops together to implement this great idea. But what I've seen a lot is owners, and we've talked about it a lot before, is owners, as you grow, you can, it's easy to get stuck in, this is how I used to do it. Why won't
Right.
it work? I mean, I remember
Right.
when I was on bar, I could do this. It's
Yeah.
not the game when you start getting larger and larger and larger.
I mean, let's just be honest, right? When you started, it was you, right?
Mhm.
Everything was built on your back. And man, mass respect for that, right? There's very few people that have the bravery to do what you did and that succeed, right? There's a lot of people that get brave out there but fail. You haven't failed. You have multiple locations, right? You're growing. I think let that mix with a little bit of humility though of if you want to continue to scale, you're probably going to need people that have skill sets
Yep.
other than yours, right? Like immediate success is great, like, but for you to last a long time, right? The number of businesses that fall off after 5 years is staggering. You know what I mean? The number
Yep.
of businesses that fall off at 10 years, staggering. You know what I mean? So it's like for you to have longevity, you need to find other people that have different skill sets than you. So to have somebody that's a quote unquote no man or a no woman isn't a bad thing as long as you learn how to work with each other of, hey, I need someplace to drop ideas and I need somebody to not be negative, but tell me battle test those ideas and come up
Mhm.
with best rollout because you all want best rollout, right? Like the owner only wants best rollout. The last thing owner wants is customers talking bad about him. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like the last thing that we want to turn this into is a bad customer journey or a bad employee journey, even, you know? So, something that Drew and I put in place that really helps with this, because sometimes Drew can be pretty like knee jerk, right? That could be, he can have that similar tendency. Whereas sometimes I'm more like pump the brake. And so what we did was we created a channel with our marketing gal that handles all of our social posts and all the things that we do with locals only. We've created a WhatsApp group where we're inviting people into, and then we announce deals just to locals because we're really trying to keep the prices low for locals, but make our money off of tourists down in Belize. But what we've done is we've created this WhatsApp group where it's me and Drew and Alyssa, and we'll drop ideas in there, and then Alyssa can ask questions, and then I'll always check with Drew on the operational side. Hey, how's
Mhm.
that going to affect managers? Hey, how are we doing with scheduling? Hey, what are the implications? And it's just an environment where we can have a real time conversation about something before something goes live. And then Alyssa can create the creatives and then we can
Yep.
post it. And then we can let the managers know, hey, here's the post. They see it before the people do, like before the customers do. And it allows everybody to calibrate for what we're coming up against rather than Wes, like he was a night owl. 3 a.m. What Ben just laid out was very, very common. 3 a.m. He has some like crazy idea, wants to roll it out the next day. Well, there's no there's no gateway, there's no choking point, there's no opportunity for somebody to give feedback that's not coming from his own mind. And so it causes all kinds of problems. Whereas if you would have just rolled out some sort of threshold of, hey, this is where we're going to have this conversation, be humble enough to realize that his skill sets aren't the only ones that benefit the company, run that by somebody that's wired a little bit different than him, and then allow it to slow things down ever so gently so that we can put a little bit of planning in place before we release it. That's going to be best experience for the barista, best experience for the manager, best experience for the customer,
Hmm.
because we've crowdsourced brains beyond just mine as the business owner.
Yeah, I love the idea of having your marketing person in there too, just because there's also like it may be a fantastic idea, but if nobody knows about it, then it's a shitty idea because you didn't make any money off
Right.
of your fantastic idea. So having them in there and using their brain to even start that, yeah, okay, say, okay, we're not going to roll out tomorrow. I had this great idea. We're not, okay, I know we can't roll out tomorrow, but how about a week? How about next week? Does
Cool.
that look okay? Operationally, that's possible. We can adjust schedules. Great. Okay, marketing person, what do you think? In a week, can you get some reels together? Can you get some posts
Yeah.
together? Do we, with everything else that you're doing right now, can you pause that and shift towards this plan
Right.
that I just came up with?
That's a good one.
Then you've got a real, then you've got the marketing being pushed and ready to go for it. Your customers are knowing about it. And we're talking about tomorrow versus a week later. Your idea, if it's as great of idea as you'd think, it's not going to be a horrible idea in a week.
Yeah.
And you're giving yourself time to plan operationally. You're giving yourself time to plan your marketing out and get people involved and your customers knowing about it. And then once you drop your plan or your idea will probably be even better because now all of your customers know about it and they've had a week's worth of hype going into it.
Right.
Like our product launches, our hard cups that we talked about, or I was starting to talk
Yep.
about. We used to do it where we would just drop it and we say this is, we've got new cups. They would sell great. Okay, awesome. Then we started having that marketing person hype the cups. We had new designs every time, new unique designs, and we create this hype. And when we launched it, we would then start selling out by like 11 a.m. that day instead of selling out a few days later. So you can take a good or great idea and just possibly trash it by not planning, or you can take a good or great idea and make it amazing by pulling in, just like you said, a few of those brains who you're working with now as it is, give them an on-ramp to actually take this idea and run with it.
Yeah. I think it's so smart, and I think it doesn't diminish the idea, but it just gives you opportunity. And then I would say if you can get into that habit, like of that's how you do ideas,
Mm-hmm.
I think that everybody will be a little more gracious with you if you as the owner at some point just want to veto that and you want to fast track something, right? Because then it's like, we talk about a lot of the collab team, like 80% of the time, let's be cutting fire breaks. And then 20% of the time, we'll do firefighting. I mean, that's fine. Like we understand there's sometimes where there's an urgency. Oh my gosh, it's 4th of July this weekend. I forgot it was 4th of July this
Yep.
weekend. I want to do a 4th of July deal. We have to get something out quick. We have to make this happen. Well, your whole team is going to be willing to get behind you and row and be good in the pocket if it's not always in the pocket.
Yep.
But if it's always done in urgency, if it's always done last minute, if it's always done like a lot of visionaries, guys, a lot of visionaries. I would say 98% of visionaries I know, they're very much that way, where it's like they're quick starts, right? They've got an idea, they want to get it out there. They're usually great about getting it to first base and terrible about getting it around to home base, right? So you need people's help to get it around to home base. I would just say, realize you can still have veto power, but make sure you don't overuse veto power. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure it's not always last minute, because last minute isn't always better, even though you feel like it is. Most visionaries live in a procrastination mindset or in an urgency mindset. And I would say, realize, I know that's what feels most natural to you. That's not the way everybody else lives. So when you impose that on people, you actually make them upset, and it actually causes chaos in your own business that you don't need. Business can be chaotic as it is. Like
Mm-hmm.
last thing you want to be is the one that's whipping up the storms. But man, I feel like there were a lot of times where I felt like I almost feel like Wes enjoyed the storm. Like he enjoyed it. Yes. And so then that's just like fatiguing on your
Yep.
people. You're going to lose your best people because they if they're with you long enough amount of time, this is where you came to, Ben. If they're with you in a long enough period of time, they begin to watch your pattern. And if you are the one whipping up the chaos, people can't survive in that
Mm-hmm.
long term, not in
Mm-hmm.
a healthy way.
No, that's exactly it. Your people will love to walk through these ideas with you, and you're spot on. Like if there's a 4th of July thing, absolutely, I'm like, guys, we got to make this happen. Call somebody in.
Yep.
I'll jump on bar and help you out. But
Yep.
every single time I have to have 9 p.m. phone calls with managers, and I'll jump on bar. I'm not very good, but I'll try and help out. If that happens every single time, at some point I'm going to go, this is not working anymore, dude. Either we have to change how we're coming out with these ideas, or I've got managers walking out the door.
Right? Because the worst thing you could do is, right? And this, visionaries, please, as humbly as you can, try and receive this, right? You're not always the best answer, right? Because I remember there were times Wes would try and solve it by jumping on bar when he saw there was a problem. And it was like, it had been so long since Wes had been on bar. He doesn't remember all the recipes anymore. He's not fast, right? And he gets into a conversation. Everybody sees Wes is on bar. The customer line starts taking longer to go through because everybody wants to have a conversation with the owner now. And it's
Yep.
like, no, you try to jump in and help. You actually made this worse. Like you did that. You did the worst thing you could do. Like you're not the only answer anymore. There are better answers out there because we've created systems, and let the system bear the load. But just make sure the system has advance notice, because no matter how good that system is, if you pour in too much fluid in the top of the funnel, it's not going to be able to churn out the results if it's overrun. And if there's
Yep.
only a couple baristas working, there's a limited amount of time that they can turn drinks quickly if you drive too much volume at it. So my encouragement is have a plan. We deep dive on this stuff in the free masterclass, myfirstdrivethrough.coffee. If you haven't checked that out yet, I would check it out. We also give you a template for you to be able to strategy and plan a little bit yourself. So even if you've opened your first drive through, you're like, Aaron, I'm not opening my first drive through. It's okay. It's a good model just to look at, because we actually break it out in sections of, hey, pre grand opening, and then during grand opening, and then post grand opening. And so it can really begin to frame your brain, or something you can give your team and say, hey, will you help me kind of like use this as a template to plan our next launch, whether it's hard goods, whether it's a big holiday like we're talking about now, maybe it is a grand opening. That there's great content in that. I think we give you 3 or 4 segments of content around how you hire people and how you set up your systems and how you run the actual day of the event. So check that out, myfirstdrivethrough.coffee. And Ben, dude, I love that we don't even know how long we've worked together, but we still enjoy it. Dude, 11 years is a big deal, bro. So thank you for being on the journey with me. And I appreciate you here on Coffee Experts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll know each other almost as long as I've known my wife.
So crazy. I love it. All righty, Coffee Experts. I hope you enjoyed today's show. We'll see you back here, same place, same time next week on Coffee Experts Club. See you later.
Thanks, guys.